La Misión Medellin, it's like I served with the first president of that mission. It was recently formed from two neighboring missions. Barranquilla, which covers the Caribbean coast of Colombia, and then Cali, which is the Pacific coast. Like, because Panama's right there as like a divider between the two. Medellin is interesting because it has like a lot of different like topography and like geography and culture actually within the mission. So there's kind of three centers of the mission. They're kind of just like in a belt, like straight up and down. There was the coast, there was Medellin, which was in the mountains, and then further south there was a place called El Eje Cafetero, which means the coffee axle, which is where Colombia produces a lot of their coffee. And it's a smaller belt of three cities down there. They're cities. Like, I mean, in America we live with a lot of space, right? In South America, not so much. Even though they have a lot of space, they congregate in the cities. So Medellin was 2-3 million people crammed in like a very, very tiny valley. And then the other cities in El Eje Cafetero down south, they were cities as well. One was built on top of a mountain, so it just covered the peak. There was obviously neighboring towns that are a little bit smaller, but smaller meaning, you know, a couple 100,000. And then there's like the furthest south area that we would go before we hit Mission Cali was Armenia. And they had like some smaller, like more agricultural towns. But by America's standards, at least by my standards, since I grew up in a town of 60,000 people, like they were all cities. Even in the coast where I served a lot, they're big cities. Even if like some of the areas are just kind of like neighborhoods, they're part of cities. And you can go outside. Like I did go outside when I was in the coast. I visited, you know, a place called Santa Rosa, which was like, you know, 2 hours away. It was just huts. But for the most part, the church isn't strong enough in Colombia to expand to the smaller areas. So it was almost all concentrated in cities. The weather, we think about, you know, South America, we're like, it's hot, right? It's by the equator. Medellin's like 6 degrees from the equator. But it's sitting in the Andes Mountains. So it's like over 2,000 feet or something. It's high up, like really high up. I think it may have been like 2,000 meters. And it's sitting high in the air, so high that it's called the City of Eternal Spring. They actually have that like in Hollywood lettering on the side of the mountain. So it sits at a balmy like 72 year round. Sun rises at 6, sets at 6. Sometimes it gets a little bit rainy. You'll have like a month or two where it just like rains a lot. And then you'll have some like slightly hotter. But the people in Medellin can't handle like temperature changes. Like it goes down like 4 degrees, they're like, it's freezing. And then you go up like 4 degrees and like, it's so hot. And they just can't handle it. But in the coast, you go down out of the mountains and you're in like, it's like the flat coastland, the Caribbean coast. And that's hot. That's really, really hot. That's like, it's really humid. If you've ever been to the Midwest in the summer, that's what it feels like. But the sun's a lot stronger. So it just kind of bakes. And then there is another section of the mission that I forgot to mention called El Chocó. And that's like coming straight down from Panama. You enter a jungle. And it's in the middle of that jungle, El Chocó. And yeah, there's cities as well there. But they're very like poor cities. They don't have a lot of development. And it's the wettest place on earth. I mean, literally, the wettest place on earth. It rains every day. To shower, they just have big open buckets on the roofs, and it just catches the rainwater. So if it doesn't rain, you don't have any water, but that never happens. So pretty consistent. Whatever it is, it's consistent at it.